The mall, a staple in the American pastime since the mid-20th century. Though some still thrive today in all their retail glory, others have fallen to the rise of our technology. So grab a hot pretzel and find a hard bench on which to relax, underneath a beautiful enclosed facade. And join me as we discuss the history of malls. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The History of Malls. I am Sean, and tonight we will be talking about the Melbourne Square Mall. It is located at 1700 West New Haven Avenue in Melbourne, Florida. The Melbourne Square Mall opened in 1982 and it's still in operation today. From their website, the mall boasts over 125 retailers with 5 anchors in 703,000 square feet. The 5 anchors are JCPenney, Macy's, a Dillard's Women, a Dillard's Men's, Children and Home, and then there's a split store of Dick's Sporting Goods and LA Fitness. This mall also has like the staple shopping like American Eagle, H&M, Hollister, and Bath & Body Works. On the outskirts in the parking lot area, there is an Outback Steakhouse, a Red Robin, and a BJ's. At this mall, they have an ambassador program, which is fully trained security guards with customer service training. It's interesting. One thing that really bothered me was that they have a section saying that they have ATM machines. It says ATM machines. So if you need to pull out cash, you can get that from the automated teller machine. For the kids, they have a mini carousel and little car rides, which I'm assuming is those cars you put quarters in and it makes you feel like you're going over speed bumps at 3 miles per hour. So I might get flack for this, but I think it's awesome they have a mall walking program and they actually open the doors an hour early for mall walkers. My dream is to retire and just mall walk. I hope someone would pay me. I would love to be paid to mall walk. So let's get into the background of this mall. Like I said, it was built in 1982 and was developed by the Edward J. DiBartolo Corporation. Now, if you're not familiar with this man, he was kind of one of the fathers of mall. He started out being a retail giant and then got into enclosed mall building with his brother, who was an architect. If there's not a statue for him at a mall museum somewhere, then the museum is doing it wrong. I might have to do a whole episode on him. This particular mall was built on an old orange grove. At the beginning, there was pushback and protests from the residents. In the newspaper Florida Today on November 14th of 1980, when talking about studies on environment and economy, it says, quote, "They described the study as inconsistent. A spokesman said it contained microscopic concerns about traffic signals on certain corners, but ignored global concerns like traffic jams." I think they were just talking about 2 different streets. I like how in 1980 this was a global concern about these 2 streets. There was another mall close by called the Brevard Mall, which seemed to be a factor in the pushback. The new mall seemed to be wooing stores that are there, and so the malls were battling on who would have the stores. There also seemed to be contract issues, and it really seemed to be a lot of legal issues with building this mall. The mall finally opened on Wednesday, October 20th in 1982. It cost $40 million to build. When the mall opened, only 2 of the 5 anchor stores were open. A JCPenney would open soon after, also a Jordan Marsh and a Burdines. When it did open, it had an Ivy's and another store which we will be talking about tonight, which is Belk's. So I didn't know what Belk's was. I've never heard of it. Belk's is a department store that was founded in 1888 by William Henry Belk in Monroe, North Carolina. It has almost 300 locations in 16 states. I'm assuming it's not in California, or maybe I just don't travel enough outside of my own bubble, but I really have never seen one around here. They have Belks.com, and they sell apparel, shoes, accessories, cosmetics, home furnishings, and wedding registry. After looking at their website, it feels like it's Kohl's or Target or in the lines of something like that. The store was initially called New York Racket, which is an amazing name. They should have kept it that. I've been trying to use the word racket more in my vocabulary to just sound like a 90-year-old man. Then the name changed to Belk Brothers after William's brother John joined in on the fun. In 1909, they moved their headquarters to Charlotte and kept building new stores and their empire after. In 2005, they purchased 47 Profits and McRae department stores, which I haven't heard of any of these. They converted them to Belks. A year later, they purchased Partisan department stores. Some of those Partisan stores were sold to the Bon-Ton Store Incorporation. Maybe I just don't shop enough. None of these stores I have heard of. But in 2010, they updated their logo and replaced the old slogan of All For You with the new slogan of Modern Southern Style. In 2015, Tim Belk, the CEO, was replaced by Lisa Harper, who was the CEO of Hot Topic. I know that place. This was also the first time that it was a non-family member to become a CEO. On opening day at Melbourne Mall, Belk's had a grand opening sale. You would receive a 14-karat gold serpentine bracelet or a genuine diamond drop mounted in genuine 14-karat gold with a $25 or more purchase of any 14-karat gold chain. So back to opening day at the mall. The general manager of the mall was Michael Fisher, a 26-year-old graduate of East Illinois University. And I love how they have a full article on opening day about this manager, and they have to mention that he is single. I guess the type of man everyone wanted in '82 was a general manager of a mall. So on opening day, 70,000 people showed up to go to the mall. That's a lot of people. We've done others, like one of them was only 2,000, but 70,000. Gary Moss, who is the general manager for the DiPartello Corporation, called it one of the most successful openings in the company's history. So only half of the 143 stores were open. Like I said, only 2 of the 5 anchors also were open. The Melbourne High School band played outside while people lined up before it opened, and there was also a ribbon cutting. Some stores even did promotional giveaways and free shopping bags, and like I said, the Belks. In August of '83, the JCPenney opened, making all 5 anchors running now. JCPenney had moved from an older, smaller location, and there's a great quote from the newspaper Florida Today. Quote, "Emphasis on the visual also is apparent. Whereas the old store had 10 mannequins, the new one had 70, and they are positioned on multi-level pedestals to display the clothing the departments have." Events were held at the mall throughout the years. In 1984, the African Violet Council of Florida put on a huge display of flowers. On Labor Day of '91, the Amateur Ballroom Dancing Association put on a show for the guests. And on October of '87, the mall put on a week-long fire prevention thing where firefighters would give you tips, you'd watch videos, and you even got to meet Pluggy, the fire plug robot. So I obviously had to look up Pluggy after this, and it looks like it was a moving, talking fire hydrant. It was like a robot, and a guy controlled it with a remote control, and you could ask it questions, and then he got all like ELO style and talked with a vocoder of, I don't know, it was a talking fire hydrant. I found an article about him in 1983 that said people were getting bored of the same videos, and this guy says, quote, "When I used the gorilla Halloween costume, I realized we've got to get kids and senior citizens interacting with someone." something. Sorry. Let me read it again. When I used the gorilla Halloween costume, I realized we've got to get kids and senior citizens interacting with something. So, guys, if you really need to come up with a fantastic idea, I really suggest you go buy a gorilla Halloween costume and put it on, because it sounds like it's the thinking cap of the future. During the slump, the mall seemed to survive. Stores went away, but they were able to get others in and keep it going. On October 17th, 2000, there was a commotion that happened that cleared the whole mall. So a 25-year-old man was out on bail for being charged with lewd and lascivious acts. He was in the parking lot with his father arguing. The father had called the bail bondsman since his bond had been revoked. While the father and son argued, the son saw the bondsman there and got mad at his dad for calling the bondsman. He pulled out a gun and started chasing him into the mall. The mall was cleared, and there was a standoff with police for 6 hours in the store called Candle Essence, where after a time, the son committed suicide in the store. And then on January 15th, 2015, about 9:30 a.m., a man named Jose Garcia Rodriguez entered the mall and went into the food court to one of the restaurants where his wife, Idaneris Garcia Rodriguez, was, and with her was the owner of the restaurant, Leonardo Coppola. Jose opened fire on both of them, and Coppola tried to protect Idaneris. He was shot and killed. After the shooting, it looks like he had 3 different guns with him. The shooter, he went into the office of the restaurant and shot himself in the stomach and committed suicide. I think the craziest part is that this happened at 9 a.m. on one day, and the whole mall opened back up the next day. Both these are both family things. It was kind of an isolated incident. Leonardo was caught in the crossfire, and it's a horrible tragedy. But, I mean, this doesn't really go to the violence or whatever, malls not being safe. These were isolated. So that's the history of the Melbourne Mall that I have. If you get out there, could you take a picture of the directory for me? You can send it to my Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at History of Malls, or email it to me, or email if you just want to chat or suggest a mall. That's historyofmalls@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. In tonight's song, we have Last Summer by Polaris Radio. Thanks again, and hope to hear from you soon.